Let's go straight to Nigel Farage, who joins me now on the campaign trail. Of course, we've got local elections underway. We'll be talking to him about that. Nigel, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
I've asked the question this morning. We feel as though in this country, I think that we've had our country stolen from us, Nigel. I don't know if you were listening earlier, but, you know, we've discovered all of this ridiculous nonsense about sustainability from the police, from the fire brigade, from the ambulance service, indeed. You know, they're more worried about climate change than they are about actually doing their jobs. How did we let this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm touring the country at the moment. I was in Kent yesterday, I'm in Cambridgeshire today, I'm in Northamptonshire tomorrow, in the run-up to the 1st of May elections. And what I'm seeing, because, you know, we always talk about national government. We don't talk much about local government, but it's important. They have budgets of billions of pounds every year, and, you know, they run the roads and, you know, social care, etc. And this sort of disease that you're talking about, it runs through literally everything. Climate change lunacy. Anyone that dares to say, well, is this really... I mean, yeah, Kent, for example, in 2019 declared a climate emergency. Well, what on earth has that got to do with fixing potholes? You know, one of the other madnesses, Mike, that we see right throughout the private sector is, for example, I'm going to Cambridgeshire, I'm on the way there now. They've got 4,000 staff that work for Cambridge County Council. 80% of them are hybrid or flexible workers. Do you know what that means?
Well, it means they don't go in office, right? That's all.
That's right. And we've allowed this lunacy to take over, and we wonder why, for ever more taxes that we're paying at national level and local level, our services are going down the drain. So, I mean, the whole thing has gone wrong. We know that the virus of Marxism is alive and well, but what we also know is the absolute cowardice of so-called conservatives in this country over the last 14 years to allow all of this to happen.
I mean, it's incredible. And as if that wasn't bad enough, we'll talk about the broken borders as well. The Sun's got a piece on the front page this morning of basically Albanian crooks coming to this country and taking the mickey out of it, sending Albanian friends of theirs basically TikTok messages saying, you know, Keir, you're such a soft touch. We're staying in a Swiss hotel. We've got a flat screen telly. It's all brilliant. You know, I mean, Keir Starmer had the gall yesterday to have a summit on this and say that basically we're cracking it, we're getting on with it, we're actually reducing the numbers. They're not.
I've been posting TikTok videos for 5 years. 5 years I've been putting this stuff out, and in the early days it was very difficult to get listened to.
Yeah.
Now I'm very pleased the Sun put it on the front page. Yeah, we're literally being taken for mugs, we're being walked all over, and all that Starmer was doing yesterday, I mean, you know, to say, you know, I understand why you're angry at illegal immigration. No, Prime Minister, we're angry at you for your empty promises. Smash the gangs. All he smashed are the Tories' records for the numbers illegally crossing the channel. And let me give you one more example of the utter lunacy we're living through. So yesterday, I went to visit a British-owned haulage company. He's got a big fleet of lorries, and he's moving goods back and forth, right? So he comes back last year. They get the lorry back to the depot for unloading, an onward transit, and they find a young illegal migrant has stowed away in the hold, right? They do the right thing. They call the police come, arrest the guy for, you know, entering the country illegally, and guess what? The haulier, having done his job, got fined £10,000.
Unbelievable.
10,000. He should have got a reward.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
this is the thing. I mean, and how is it, people have asked this question before, how is it that hauliers get fined, but then when RNLI or the Border Force bring people to Dover, which they do on a daily basis, and they're probably doing even as we speak, you know, they get sort of applause?
Well, even more significantly, when I've been in the channel, I've taken video footage of the people on the tiller, right? Those that are guiding the boats.
Yeah.
We were promised that those that guide the boats over would get special treatment, would be prosecuted and imprisoned to stop other people doing it. To my knowledge, virtually none of them. And we can identify who they are. We've got photographs of them. None of them. So, I mean, none of this is serious. And all that Starmer was doing yesterday was giving another 33 million quid to overseas organisations. There is about as much chance on the current course of smashing the gangs as there is of stopping the illegal drugs trade, which, by the way, no one even talks about in government. No one even talks about it. They've given up on that years and years ago.
Right.
The only way you stop it, and we've got the model, Tony Abbott, the Australian Prime Minister, did it in 2012. You make it very clear that nobody that comes by boat will ever be allowed to stay, will ever get permanent leave to remain, will ever be allowed to qualify as a refugee. And you do what David Blunkett used to do 20 years ago. You simply deport. And if you deport people who come, well, you know what? They won't pay the traffickers the money. It's dead simple, but the Tories couldn't do it. They put forward a Rwanda plan, which, of course, was overruled by the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. And Labour have nothing to offer. And I think this issue of the boats, and by the way, we're at record numbers so far this year, I think the boats issue is going to do the Labour government as much harm as it did the Conservatives.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And the rhetoric, though, is kind of sickening, isn't it? Because Keir Starmer, talks about rolling up his sleeves and getting on with it. And if you come to this country, you won't be, if you don't belong here, you'll be kicked out. They're using the same figure that they used several months ago in terms of those they've deported, most of whom wanted to go anyway. It's a con job, isn't it?
It's a total con job. In fact, everything about Labour is now a con job. In fact, they really, with their campaigning now, are simply resorting to lies most of the time. Outright, naked lies. But I don't think it's going to work. I don't think people believe them. And let's face it, today, April the 1st, this morning, every single person that works in retail, hospitality, runs a shop, runs a pub, runs a charity, runs a hospice, every single one of those people today has been made an April Fool of, because it's a really big double whammy today. Increased minimum wage employers can live with, but they can't live with it alongside an extra tax of £1,000 a year for every employee they've got. This is a very bad, bleak day, and that's even before the employment rights legislation comes in, which says, if I employ you, Mike, and on day one I decide I've made a mistake, you can sue me. So things are not good.
Yeah, they really aren't. And we can't get too specific about the local elections, but you're running people in all parts of it. I understand there's no stone unturned, if you like, from any place that Reform are running. What are you hoping for?
Well, it's tough to tell because, obviously these are first-past the post elections. So, is Reform going to get a big percentage? Yes. How many actual seats or wins in counties will that, or mayoralties will that lead to? Frankly, is anybody's guess. But, all I can say is...
have you got a number in your mind as to what you would call a successful campaign?
Well, I would say at least winning 200 council seats.
Right. At
least winning 200 council seats. But it's very tough to predict. I am going to be on the road for the next month. I think local politics does matter. As I said to you earlier in this call, they've got big budgets of millions of pounds. They're all massively in debt. They've mishandled things terribly. We've got over 3,000 staff working for county councils paid over $100,000 a year, and they're not delivering. So I'm out there doing my best.
And Reform have had a bit of a rocky few weeks, haven't they, with the departure of Rupert Lowe. I've been asked by a few people to ask you a question about the way that some local sort of Reform groups have been treated. Some people are saying that, they joined Reform in various different parts of the country, but the professionalism or the professionalisation has meant that a lot of people have either stepped down as chairman of local groups or they've been asked to step down. Is there a problem in local groups of Reform?
The problem is that we are vetting people to a much higher standard than the other political parties. And we're doing that because we ourselves will be held to a higher standard than everybody else because we're the challengers against the establishment. So, for example, we have somebody who's a candidate and we go back through their social media history and find that they repeatedly use swear words. Well, we just can't have that.
Yeah.
Or they express opinions that, frankly, either are or could be interpreted as being extreme or deeply prejudiced. So, yes, we have set a very high standard, and yes, there are some people out there who are unhappy that they've not passed vetting. But, after the disaster that we had with some of those unvetted candidates at the last general election, I made a pledge that I would professionalise the party. And, there are some people that don't like it, but generally, look, last year in the local elections, Reform fielded candidates in 12% of seats. On May the 1st, we will be at or damn close to 100%. We've set up 400 branches. We are professionalising it, and it does come with a certain ruthlessness.
Sure, and I think many people will understand that. Let's talk about Marine Le Pen just before we let you go. I mean, extraordinary times yesterday in France where it seems to me, and I said this yesterday, they're doing a bit of a sort of Donald Trump lawfare on her, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, she was going to win, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was going to win. I've been saying for years that she would win. She was clearly going to win. It's quite extraordinary. In all my 20 years in the European Parliament, the only European groups, the only European political parties that ever got accused of misusing EU funds were all the Eurosceptic ones.
Yeah.
Funny that, isn't it? Funny that.
Yeah.
They came after me. They fined me a sum of money because they said one of my employees was spending more time on party work than MEP work. I mean, look, this is a willful, deliberate attempt by a court in France, and if you look at who the senior presiding judge was, you will find that he's quite a good friend of President Macron's. It's just outrageous. I mean, she clearly has an appeals process, and let's see where this goes. But yeah, it is overtly political in every way.
And you interviewed her in 2017. We were just showing some pictures of that interview itself. And even Macron is saying, this is going to backfire. This is going to make the people who vote for the party that she represents actually more convinced that they want them in power.
Yeah, I mean, she does have a suitable successor in the shape of Jordan Bardella, who, is a very, very decent politician. And look, to be fair to Marine Le Pen, okay, the Le Pen surname sort of rings a few alarm bells, although quite why the daughter should pay for the sins of the father, I'm not sure. But she has cleaned the party up. She has got rid of the extreme elements. She has made it electable. And this is her reward.
Yeah, exactly right. One final one. Britain's tariff deal, according to the Daily Telegraph this morning, may in fact redound on whether or not free speech is practiced in this country. I mean, the more that you look around the nation and see what happened in Hertfordshire and see what's happening in all sorts of different areas of policing, J.D. Vance was right, wasn't he?
All I want to say is this. This is a tremendous wasted opportunity. We had a free trade deal with America on the table in 2017. Trump wanted to do a deal with us. He told me that himself. But of course, under the Conservatives, despite the Brexit vote, it took us years and years and years to leave the European Union. We missed the opportunity, and I'm afraid these tariffs are going to hurt. So I'm very unhappy at this squandered opportunity. Quite what the extent, and Marco Rubio as well, of course, is being quoted in this, quite what the extent of, unless you have free speech, you can't have free trade is. I don't think any of us quite know what's going on right now behind the scenes, but I think we've really rather blown it with America, I'm afraid. I do think, if these tariffs are slapped on with everybody, I do think we have an opportunity to be the first country to get out of them, for the obvious reasons that our trade with America is roughly in balance, and, hey, you know what? They are the biggest foreign investor in Britain, and we're the biggest foreign investor in America. So we've got lots of mutual interest. It's bad news, but we can get out of it.
Nigel Farage, thank you very much indeed. Nigel Farage, MP, the Leader of Reform, talking about a great many things.